Very good morning. On behalf of E-Road Singandar Engineering College, AICT Preerana, scheme for preparing SCST students for higher education. I am Dr. P. Selvan, Professor of Electrical Electronics Engineering, E-Road Singandar Engineering College. Present the topic on economic load dispatch in the subject power system. So first, what is economic load dispatch? Prior to going to the economic load dispatch, we should know what is meant by load. Load, whatever the thing it taps the energy is called the load in general. In power systems, loads, how the loads are this. Definitely in power system or whatever the things, loads always vary in nature. Here the power system loads are always cyclic in nature. What is cyclic in nature? It is a varying time to time. So suppose for any load demand at a particular time or a particular day or a particular duration, the demand should not be equal at all the time. Sometimes maybe or 1 or 2 hours, maybe demand may be equal. So the demand always varying in nature due to various factors, either say environmental factor or the requirement or needs of the hour. So whether if it is agriculture, its needs may be different. In the domestic needs may be different. If it is industrial needs may be different. So that depends upon the types of load, the demand may vary. So we have to meet out the demand from the generation capacity. Definitely installed capacity it should be greater than the current load. It is very, very, very important. So how we are meeting out all our current load by the installed generation capacity. So this is given by the economic load dispatch. And also we have to generate the power with the minimum cost. It is our main objective. So if it is a minimum cost in the sense we have to reduce the losses, we have to reduce the cost towards the energy production. Cost towards the energy production. So, so for the generation cost also can vary, depends upon the types of the plant we are having. Suppose if you are having the many number of generating plants, suppose if it's a thermal, hydro, nuclear, geothermal, solar, wind, so like that we can have the most conventional thermal power plant and also non-conventional thermal power plant. That is called a renewable energy power generation. So suppose if you are having the two types in major, that is the conventional type and the non-conventional type. Suppose even if it is the conventional type, it depends upon the power plant. The power plant may have the different capital cost, different maintenance cost, different generation cost. So depending upon the power plant, for example, if it is nuclear or hydro, definitely it has a high capital cost, but it has a low operating cost. Suppose if you are having the natural gas generator, it has a low capital cost, but it has a high operating cost. So the cost towards the power generation and also unit generation, it's a different for different power generating plants. Suppose if you are considering the conventional power plants, we are taking the two, one is thermal, another one is hydro because it is used nowadays mostly. And also the recent years, the renewable energy power generation also coming into the picture to avoid the demands. It's very, very important. So with the conventional method, it's an older method. There are two types of generating. One is thermal and hydro. If it is a thermal, coal is mandatory. Whether the coal is available nearby the generating plant, it is cost is less. Suppose if the coal is far away from the generating plant, we have to bring the coal from that place to our place. It is very, very important. It takes a transportation cost. But similarly, for hydro, if it is a water is available, it is a freely available source. But if it is a water is available, there's a amount available, it is a tremendous level, it is easy to produce a power generation. Suppose the reservoir, it should be managed and coordinated. It's very, very important. And also the downstream flow, that means the water coming from the major reservoir and a dam to the power plant. It's also we have to monitor. It is very important. So the optimization is very very important. So we have to keep our water for long term. It is very very important, and also for the fossil fuel coal, it may have to keep ready for generating the power for the long term. That is called many months or years like that. So here to the low economic load dispatch, what are all the types of generator types considering the economic load dispatch? Suppose if it is here the generator types in the sense it is not a technical meaning. Here, what is the condition of the generator? What is the condition of the generator in the sense if it is any generator running for long time continuously with the fixed load, that is called base load plants. That is called a base load plant. Usually the base load plants always the thermal or nuclear. Sometimes the hydro. Hydro, if it is a water is available in a tremendous level, a hydro plant also you can use it as a base load plant. What is the concept of the base load plants? The plant is able to produce the power with a constant level for long time. It may be considering the year or month, the couple of months or n number of months it will be considered. That will be generating the power with maximum level. It is very, very important. Another kind of load is called mid-load plants. That is called mid-load units. If it is a smaller coal plant, even if it is hydro plant also we take into the consideration. If it is the mid-load plants, the mid-load plants, it will be running. Sometimes it will be off or on for daily or weekly or monthly like that. So suppose here you can have the more power. Definitely we have to run the plants. Suppose for less power we have to switch off some part of the power plants. So like that you can have that. Another one is the peaker units. Peaker units in the sense peak load plants. Suppose if we any time suppose sometime we can have the more demand by the time we are used to the combustion turbine or smaller power generation, it will be added to the base load and the mid load that is called a peaker load. So these loads are running for 1 hour to several hours. 1 hour to several hours. This peak load is not for continuous week or continuous month like that. So it will be for this minimum period. That means in terms of hour. That in terms of hour. So what is the concept behind these three plants? Base load plants. It is a capability to run all the time without disturbing. What is a mid-load plants? It will be able to run anytime whenever you can switch off or switch on. Another one, it will be peaker units. It is a unit with a smaller capacity for running for the ability to take the load at the peak demand. At the peak demand. So for considering all type of generator, either base load plants or peak load plants or mid load plants, the plant should have its a distinct characteristics. Very very important. So all the plants should not have the equal characters. All the plants should not have a unique characteristics to generate the power with the same cost. Suppose if you have the thermal power plant of 100 megawatt of 10 numbers, the total capacity is 1000 megawatt. Suppose if it is the number one can able to generate the power or able to generate the unit at cost of 30 paise, the unit 2 may not be. It may be at the cost of 35 paise. Another one is the cost of 40 paise. Another one is the cost of 20 paise. So we have to take all the power generation with the equal incremental cost. That is very very important. Equal incremental cost. So how we are generators are represented? It's a four different curves. One is called input output curve. What is input output curve? If it is the input output curve, how much power can generated with our input. Here input in the sense here it is a coal or the coal in terms of rupees. What is output? It is objectively it is the output in megawatt. Output in megawatt. It is very, very important. What is the heat rate? Heat rate curve is also another one. How much heat can be generated? That is the ratio of fuel input in British thermal unit. British thermal unit to energy output. What is the energy output? That is a kilowatt hour. That is otherwise it is called a unit generation. Otherwise it is called a unit generation. The reciprocal of this is called fuel efficiency. That is a heat rate. Heat rate it is a ratio of fuel input to the energy output. The reciprocal, that means the energy output to the fuel input is called a fuel efficiency. Fuel efficiency. Next, what is the main part of the economic load dispatch? The operation is very, very important. It will be have the two major area. One is called optimal power flow. Optimal power flow. What it means? It will be minimization of the loss. Minimization of the loss is very, very important. That is called the optimal power flow. How your losses will be reduced? That is by the economic dispatch problem. That is by the economic dispatch problem. So another one, the output of each plant definitely to meet the specific load. It is very important. If it is one power generation plant, to have one plant or two plants or n number of plants, the total amount by all generator should meet the specified load demand. It is very, very important to meet the specified load demand. This load demand can be met by the power generation, and also losses can also be included with the load. For simple calculation, for theoretical calculation, for initially we can reduce the loss at all. So what is the main objective here? To reduce the overall fuel cost. To reduce the overall fuel cost, and also for the during the operation, the plant, that is a generator, should have the following state. What is that? It is a base supply. Base supply in the sense a constant supply without regulation. What is it without regulation? Output is must be constant. Output must be constant. Some with regulation. What is a with regulation? Output is regulated based on the system load. Based on the system load. Another one, automatic non-economic regulation, then automatic economic regulation. That means output level changes by the base setting of the area controller. That depends upon the area, depends upon the area requirement, output level changes. Suppose even the area level changes, output will be giving continuously. That is called automatic economic regulations. Automatic economic regulations. So importance of the what is economic dispatch? Importance of the economic dispatch. The power generation characteristics is most important. That means the characteristics it will be given in the quadratic equation. That means ax squared plus bx plus c. It is rupees per hour. Rupees per hour. But suppose if you have the power generation, we can differentiate this function. It is called incremental cost curve. Incremental cost curve, and also economic dispatch, and also thermal economic dispatch. It will be considering if it is a type of plant, we can considering the economic dispatch. And another very important point, optimization with the constraint. It is very, very important. What is meant by constraint? There are two types of constraint. One is equality constraint, another one is inequality constraint. Very, very important. What is the equality constraint? Whatever the power generation, it should be equal to the power demand, neglecting the loss. Other one, what is the inequality constraint? The generator should not be operated above and below the rating. It is very important. So these are all the important points considering the economic load dispatch, isn't it? So here it is the British thermal unit. It is one British thermal unit 1054 joules. The mega in the sense into 10 power 6. So 1 MBP is going to be 0.29 megawatt hour. So I already explained what is a heat rate curve. Heat rate curve, I will explain It is the ratio of fuel input to the energy output. If it is the power generation of 180 megawatt, how much heat it can give? How much fuel input is needed for production of 1 megawatt? Production of 1 megawatt. Here, this is the curve. It will be arrived for the power generation with a different gas. If you see, if it is 90 megawatt, heat rate is maybe higher. For power, it will be increasing. The heat rate may be decreasing and it will be sustained. For which point it will give the most efficient. So here in this consideration, we can have the point around 9. Next, incremental cost curve. What is incremental cost curve? Here we are having the heat rate curve. The same curve we can differentiate with respect to the function of generation. It is very, very important. Here the power generation is in terms of megawatt. We are differentiating this curve with respect to megawatt. It is called incremental cost curve. That means megawatt here it may be in the rupees per megawatt hour or dollar per megawatt hour, whatever the thing is. Again, we can plot the incremental with respect to the function of megawatt. Again, the same curve. Here you see this is heat rate curve. It is like this. Incremental cost curve. It will be going like this. This is called the incremental cost. It will be given as a lambda. It will be given as a lambda. It will be detailed in later slides. Later slides. What is the objective of the incremental cost curve? What is the objective of the incremental cost curve? If if you are given the fuel input in terms of cost towards the power generation 180 megawatt, if we say suppose if it is 180 megawatt, the value should be 16 rupees, other $16 per megawatt hour. That is a higher unit. Kilowatt hour is going to be the one unit. Megawatt hour is going to be the higher unit. Megawatt unit is going to be the higher unit. Suppose you can kilowatt hour or megawatt hour. Megawatt hour is nothing but 1000 units. Megawatt hour is nothing but 1000 units. Suppose if it is 180 megawatt power generation, what is the cost, incremental cost? It may be 60. That's called lambda. Suppose if you are increasing the power, if it is 180 to 250 or 300, something if it is 250, it will be going to be like this. The cost towards is going to be 18 or 19 like that. Suppose again it will be increasing, it will be going to be again increasing. So from this flat, what it implies is suppose if you are generating more power from this point, definitely the incremental cost curve increases. Suppose if you are decreasing the power from 180 to 150 or 100, definitely the cost will be decreased. To this point, suppose if you are having 100, maybe like this. If you are having the 90, maybe like this. If you are having the 0, again the cost, incremental cost is maybe around 13.5 or 14. Again, so the minimum cost it is required to generate the power with 0 to some value. It is very, very important. It will not be start from here. It will be start from some value. It may be 13.5 or 14 like this. So what is the incremental cost? What is the significance of this? The ratio of change in input. What is a change in input? It's incremental cost corresponding to change in output. Corresponding to change in output at any operating point. The operating point, here it is operating point, here it is operating point, here is also one of the operating point, here it is also one of the operating point. Suppose if it is operating point, what is the power generation? 300. What is the cost? It may be 70, like that. So the significance of incremental cost curve, the ratio of change in input, here it is a cost corresponding the change in output at any operating point. At any operating point. It is very, very important. Another one, if it is a kilocalorie, that means a cold, it is equivalent to the electrical equivalent of heat. It is the electrical equivalent of heat. This will give the generating unit efficiency, that is the ratio of electrical energy output to the fuel energy input. What is the generating unit efficiency? Is the ratio of electrical energy output to the fuel energy input. Fuel energy input. So the incremental cost is very, very important. The cost function, it is the function of cost with respect to the power generation. Function of cost with respect to the power generation. Next, economic dispatch formulation. That is the formulation of the economic dispatch equation. So what is our objective of the economic dispatch? The economic dispatch equation, it is essential to reduce the losses, otherwise with the minimum losses, otherwise with the minimum losses, and also to operate the plants economically, and also supplying the load of the system with meet out all the demands, meet out all the demands with provided what are all the types of plants we are having, what are all the types of plants we are having. It is very important how we are formulating the economic dispatch equation. So otherwise it is called a coordination equation. So economic dispatch equation with losses, without losses is there. Suppose you can consider what is the goal of the economic dispatch? To determine the generation dispatch to minimize the instantaneous operating cost. That means the fuel unit cost, it will be very, very less. That is the cost towards the generation of the unity, it should be very less. That is our objective. For that we have to formulate the economic dispatch equation, and also we can have the subject to the constraint also, whether it is a equality constraint or a inequality constraint. So what is our objective? Definitely the total generation. That means from many number of plants. Here we can take the m number of plants. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, up to m number of plants. The power generation from all the plants should be added, should be equal to the demand. That means load and also losses. Losses in the sense after generating the power, it should be given to the consumer through the transmission line. So the losses encountered through the transit, it will be taken into account. It will be taken into account. Initially, for a theoretical calculation, we have to generate limits and also losses should be ignored for theoretical calculation. So what is the problem formulation? To minimize the cost, to minimize the cost towards the power generation. So total cost towards the power generation is equal to the cost towards all the power plants or the plants like 1, 2, 3, like that. If it is a summation of all the plants, summation of the all the plants. So power generation from all the plants, it should be equal to the demand and also losses. It should be equal to the demand and also to the losses. It's very, very important. So we are considering the constraint, inequality constraint and equality. So if it is inequality constraint, what is the inequality constraint? The plant. Suppose if you are having the plant capacity, if it is 100 megawatt, what is inequality constraint? The plant should be able to generate either 80 or 120. If it is the constraint, inequality is not equal. If the 100 megawatt plant can able to produce 100, even if it is 80, even if it is 120. Suppose if it is inequality in the sense, suppose the generating plant, it is generated less than 80, it is the, it is not coming under the economic dispatch. Suppose if it is plant beyond 120, it will not also coming into the economic dispatch. So that we have to fix the minimum power generation level, the maximum power generation level. That is called the inequality constraint. So how we are finding the inequality constraint or the unconstrained minimum? If it is very, very necessary for a minimum to gradient of the function must be zero. That is a derivative. That is called a derivative. If it is a multivariable problem, suppose if it is for plant 1, 2, 3, 4, that means x1, x2, x3. The derivative of the function of generation, it should be equal to all the derivative of the all the generation for the function of for plant 1, for plant 2, for plant up to n. Then minimization with the equality constraint. What is the equality constraint? Equality constraint in the sense that definitely the power generation must equal to the demand and also losses. Otherwise, the power generation must equal to the demand only. So whatever the thing we can put it for the problem solving, we can fix the problem, we can fix the constraint also. So what is our general problem? To minimize the function of generation. It's subject to that generation should be equal to the zero in the sense whatever the power generation to meet out the load, whatever the power generation to meet out the load. We can define with the Lagrangian formula to solve the problem. Lagrangian of x comma lambda. Lambda is incremental cost, x is the power generation. So the function of generation plus lambda with generation with respect to the power. Generation with respect to the power. So what is the necessary condition for the minimum? Definitely derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to two functions must be zero. For with respect to the function x is also going to be zero. With respect to the lambda is also going to be zero. This is the condition for minimization of the with the equality constraint. What is economic dispatch Lagrangian function? If it is a Lagrangian function, for economic dispatch, we have the minimization constraint with a single equality. What is a single equality? Power generation must equal to the demand, must equal to the demand. Here there is no losses at all. Here there is no losses at all. Here the Lagrangian function of the power generation with the incremental cost. What is the total power generation plus demand minus power generation, it should be zero. That is the constraint. That is the constraint. It is the equality constraint. It is the equality constraint. So necessary condition for the minimum, we have to derivative of this function. It will be told earlier. It will be told earlier. So earlier it is told that it is a necessary condition for minimum or the function of Lagrangian, it will be derivative with the power generation. It is going to be the power generation cost towards dci by dpi. Here it is a constant value, so the derivative of the constant is going to be 0. Then here the pgi minus pgi, it is going to be 1. So lambda is equal to the 0. That is the incremental cost is equal to change in cost towards a change in power. It is very, very important. So the incremental cost, suppose if it is a dci of pgi is equal divided by dpgi is equal to lambda. What is mean by lambda? Incremental cost. The incremental cost is equal to the change in cost towards the change in power of ith plant. That means for all the plants should be equal. For all the plants should be equal. What it means? The incremental cost, it should be equal to the dc1 divided by dp1 is equal to dc2 divided by dp2 is equal to dc3 divided by dp3. So whatever the number we are going, it will be equal. That means lambda, that means incremental cost of all the plants should be equal. It's very, 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 very important. This is called the coordination equation of the power plants with neglecting the losses. With the neglecting the losses. Very, 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 very important. So the incremental cost of the power system is going to be the change in cost towards the change in power. change in cost towards the change in power. It is very, very, very important. This is called coordination equation without losses. Coordination equation without a losses. That means the power demand is equal to all the power generation. Power demand is equal to the power generation from the all the plants. What is mean by all the plants? A plant 1 to m. It may be 100, it may be 200, it may be 50, it may be 30, whatever it may. Suppose you can take into the example of the economic load dispatch. Suppose if you are having the two generator, what is the condition? The demand may be 500 megawatt. Demand may be 500 megawatt. So what we have to do? So different generator have a different characteristic equation. This is the characteristic equation that is called, if it is the first plant, you have 1000 plus 20 Pg1 plus a 0.01 Pg1 square. It is a rupees per hour or a dollar per hour. Similarly, for the plant 2, this is the equation. Suppose this characteristic equation decides how much contribution coming from plant 1, how much contribution coming from plant 2. So suppose what is the incremental cost? That means it's given earlier. That is derivative. That is a derivative. You have to derive this equation with respect to the Pg1. That means dC1 by dP1. It is suppose you're derivating the constant is 0. Here 20 plus 0.1 2 Pg1. Then it is minus lambda is going to be 0. What is other point? Lambda is equal to 20 plus 0.02 Pg1. This is another equation. Similarly for the plant 2. What is the third constraint? Pg1 is plus Pg2 is equal to 500. That means the demand 500 minus Pg1 minus Pg2 is going to be 0. We can have the two variable Pg1 and Pg2. We can have the three equation, that is a linear equation. Definitely we have to find out what is Pg1, Pg2 and lambda through solving the linear equation by the matrix. By matrix, we know the formula for solving the parameter or variable through the linear equations. A set of three linear equations we are having. We can take the parameter the 0.2 and 0.6, that is a P1, 0.2 P1 and also minus lambda. It is a minus lambda is going to be 0, something like this. Suppose you can have all the value, you can take the constant to other side, that is called 20 minus 50 minus 500. Solving these equations, solving three linear equations, we can get what is a P1, what is P2, what is incremental cost. What is incremental cost? Suppose you can put the incremental cost here, P1 here, P2 here, we can get 0. We can test the answer with the substitution. Test the answer with the substitution. Suppose the same equation, the same problem. Suppose the characteristic equation is a different value, then only we can get the different value of P1 and P2. Suppose here if it is a 1020 0.01 P1 squared. Again here the 1020 0.01 P2 squared. Suppose if you are solving the same problem, the same characteristic equation of both the plants, definitely both the plants generate the equal amount. Then what is value of P1 and P2? Definitely the value of P1, P2 should be shared equally. It should be shared equally. What it means? P1 is 250 watts, P2 is 250 watts. So what decides how much power taken from plant 1, how much power taken from plant 2? It is purely depends upon the cost characteristics. It is very, very important. Purely depends upon the cost characteristics. The cost characteristics are equal for three plants. Definitely the power shared from three plants it should be equal. Suppose the cost characteristics of any two plants are equal, the power shared should be equal. Suppose the cost characteristics of the plants are different, Definitely the power generation is different from different plant. So how to be decided? The power comes from each plant. It should be decided by the caste characteristics. It is very, very important point. This is a numerical example for the economic dispatch. Suppose again we have to solve the equations, we can get the P1, P2 and lambda. Suppose another method we can find it. Suppose lambda, we can put it like this. Suppose Pg1, we can put lambda here, we can minus 20 put here, divided by 0.92, it is also given the value. What is the lambda? It will be Pg1 is going to be lambda minus 20 divided by 0.02. Similarly, what is a P2? Lambda minus 15 divided by 0.06. So lambda in the problem, it should be equal at any time, at all time. If it is a lambda different, economic dispatch should not be applied. It is very important. The lambda value, if it is n number of plants, for all the plants lambda, when the lambda should be equal, then only the economic dispatch problem satisfied. Economic dispatch problem satisfied. It is a very, very important point. Again, the iteration method. What is iteration method? Suppose if you are finding the lambda here also through this formula. Suppose we can fix the lambda first. We can fix the lambda. How we are fixing the lambda? Suppose here lambda. What is the lambda value? Here put the lambda here. 0.2. Suppose lambda minus 20. What is the value here? If it is lambda 20, the power generation of the plant should be 0. Suppose the P1 here, you put the plus lambda minus 20 divided by 0.02. Suppose we can assume the lambda is going to be 20. What happened? Definitely the power generation from P1 is going to be 0. Definitely, suppose lambda, it should be 20. What happened? If it is 20, it is 0. Automatically, here Pg1 is going to be 0 divided by 0.02. Definitely the power generation from plant 1, it should be 0. So, for minimum power generation, the lambda value, it should be greater than this 20. That means the caste characteristics, this is C plus Bx plus Ax square, isn't it? That means the B value, it should be deciding factor for the incremental cost. It should be the higher B value, be higher than the higher B value. It should be very, very important. Suppose here lambda 20, what should be the power generation from plant 2? If it is a lambda 20, all the power generation coming from this plant. How? If it is 20, if it is 15, the 20 here, 15 here, 5 divided by 0.06, definitely it will give the how much power coming from this plant. How much power coming from this plant. Similarly, here lambda is 20, definitely the power generation coming from P1 is 0. If it is lambda 20, definitely 5 divided by 0.06, it will be giving the value. How much value it will be given? That is the power we can generated. Similarly, if it is lambda value less than 20, what happened? Definitely it will be negative generation goes. Negative. If it is 18, what happened? Here it is 18, here it is 20, you can get 2. You can put the 2 here minus 2 divided by 0 divided by 0.02. What happened? 100, but 100 value it should have a negative. If it is a power generation, it's a negative, it is a meaningless. It is a meaningless. So what is the condition for fixing the lambda? It should have the higher value of B of higher plant. It is very, very important. It is very, very important, isn't it? So first it is a iteration method. What is the iteration method? We can fix the lambda value. We can fix the lambda value. So we can fix the lambda value by choosing the number greater than the greater B value of any of the plant. Choose a greater value of the any of the plants. You should go through the problem, then we can fix the lambda value. It is very, very important. So lambda iteration solution method, it is works well when incremental costs are linear, and also no generator are at their limits. No generators are at their limits. Very, very, very important. So more general method is also known as a lambda iteration method. Lambda iteration method. This method, it requires unique mapping between the value of lambda. Unique mapping between the value of lambda and each generator megawatt unit. Megawatt units. The method also start with the value of lambda below or above the optimum value. Below or above the optimum value. Then only we can find the value, and also to know the exact value of the incremental cost value. Incremental cost value. Then you can go through how to choose the lambda value. It is very, very important. This is called a lambda iteration algorithm. Lambda iteration algorithm. So this is a lambda iteration algorithm. You can see all the formula. I will tell one by one. So all of you see in the formula. So formula here you see incremental cost of lower value, incremental cost of higher value. It is very, very important how we are choosing the incremental cost value. Suppose you can have the equation with the a plus bx plus cx squared. We can choose this lambda lower value, lambda higher value with the reference of the B value of the any of the plants. If it is 3 plants, that which is the higher value, that value, beyond that value, you can choose the incremental value. It is very, very important. If you are the power generation with the incremental cost minus power demand, it's less than 0 in the sense generation is higher, demand is, suppose if it is greater than 0, this is higher, this is lower. If it is less than 0, this is lower, this is higher. That means the power demand. That means the power demand. Suppose if it is power generation is lesser, we have to increase the value of incremental cost. Power generation is higher, we have to decrease the power generation by reducing the lambda value. So the lambda value only decides the power generation. Earlier I told this graph, if it is, this is lambda, this value decides the power. If it is a power generation increases, automatically lambda value also increases. So the lambda choosing the value, when the power generation is higher, that means if it is the, we have to increase the power generation. Even the power generation is lower, and also we have to increase the incremental cost. These two are controversy to estimate. Suppose if it is a generation is higher, we have to reduce the incremental cost. When the generation is lower, we have to increase the incremental cost. So it is very, very, very important. So suppose if it is a power generation, suppose you can take this is 1000. The power generation is going to be 800. What you have to do? We have to increase the value. By the time, suppose if you are increasing the value with some percentage, 5% or 10%. Suppose by the time power generation is become higher, demand is become lower. Again, you have to reduce it. You cannot reduce to the earlier value. So you have to take the average of these two values. You have to take the average of these two values with the constraint of tolerance. With the constraint of tolerance, it's very very important. So what is the lambda iteration method? When power generation is higher, we have to reduce incremental cost. When power generation is lower than the power demand, we have to increase the incremental cost. When we have to stop, this is the loop equation. We have to search when the generation equal to the demand, then we can stop. We cannot get the exact value of the generation equal to the demand with some tolerance. That tolerance value of epsilon given by the problem. It may be, suppose if it is 1,000 megawatt is a demand, where all the, suppose we can have the three power plants, that all three power plants are able to produce a 999. Suppose the tolerance having 1, we can leave the problem, we can finish it. Suppose if a tolerance value 2, if it is a 990, we can stop the problem. If suppose the tolerance is a 0.1, definitely all the three plants should beat out the 999.99. It is very, very important. It is very, very important. So the value, the power generation value decides when the problem going to stop. The power generation must equal to the power demand. It's very, very important. Next, if it is a graphical value, if it is a power generation 1, power generation 2, if the power generation I is a power generation. Suppose power generation increases, incremental cost is increases. If it is a lambda, if it is a lower value, if it is a lambda is a higher value, if it is a lambda is a medium value. So suppose if it is a lower value, in this condition, generation is lesser. If it is higher value, in this condition, generation is higher than the demand. We have to fix the exact value by lambda iteration method. By lambda iteration method. This is by the formula we can choose. It is very, very important. Suppose if it is a lambda iteration problem, we can have the 3 generator system. Here they are not given the cost characteristics, they are given the incremental cost characteristics. Incremental cost characteristics. Suppose if it is incremental cost characteristics, the formula, we are derivative the cost characteristic, we can get the 2 terminal, it is a lambda. For lambda for all the plants should be equal. Lambda for all the plants should be equal. They are giving the constraint that the addition of all the plants should be 1000. It is very important. Addition of all the plants should be 1000. So we are rewriting these equations. That means for plant 1, lambda minus 50. So we have to fix the lambda, assuming the lambda value, which is very important. It should be higher than the higher value of any of the plant. Here you can see the B value 15, 20, 18. Definitely lambda it should be greater than 20. Greater than 20. We can choose a lambda lower value. Then if it is a lambda higher value, if it is choose a lambda lower value, it should be the negative value. If it is the lambda higher value, it should be the positive value. We can lambda lower value 20. If it is 20, what is the power generation? Negative value it is 670 because here 0, here some value, here some value. Minus 20, it is a negative value. If it is a higher value, you can 30. The power generation is very, very high. If it is 1230. So we have to choose the average of these two. It is a 25. Again, we can get the value of 280 power generation higher than the demand. Higher than the demand. What we have to do? Again, we have to take average of lower value with the now chosen higher value. It is a 22.5. Like that, we have to proceed the problem. We have to check which value should be very, very. Again, it's a minus 195. That means the value it should be above the 22.5. It should be above the 22.5. below the 25. If it is 25, it is the plus 280. If it is 22.5, minus 195. That means it is a value between the 22.5 to 25. So you have to do this loop continuously. We can get one value, it is called 23.53. By the value, we can get the correct optimum power generation. Correct optimum power generation. This is called lambda iteration. If it is a 23.53, we can get all the value. You can add all the value. We can get 1000. We can get the 1000. It will be adding all the value. We can get 1000. So the power generation 1 is going to be 426. Power generation from 2 is 353. Power generation from 3 is going to be 221. That's all. So this is a lambda iteration method. Then we suppose till now we are seeing the problem without generator constraint. If it is a generator constraint, you can put it there. What is meant by generator constraint? Generator, it should be able to generate the minimum value of something, the maximum value of something. That is called inequality constraint. That also we can consider that is given here. Lambda iteration method we can take it into the limits, generate limits. That means if it is the power generation is greater than maximum value, we have to fix the maximum value only. But the power generation less than the minimum value, we have to fix the minimum value only. So then we can fix the value of maximum and minimum. Suppose the economic dispatch give the power generation below lower value and also above the higher value. It is very, very important. These constraints also taken into the account. Then we have to solve the problem. Very, very important. Suppose if it is cost characteristics plans we can give, they are given the generator limits. The first generator should be between 300, second generator between 100 to 500, third generation between 200 to 600. Suppose PG1 value, what is the PG1 value? If it is 250, it is satisfied because it is in between 0 to 300. If it is 100, it is also satisfied 100 to 500. If it is 200, it is also satisfied. So it will satisfy the generator constraint. Suppose the next value, if it is 300, it is satisfied. If it is 500, it is satisfied. It is 480, again it is satisfied. For lambda of 20, the generator characteristic satisfied. Lambda of 30, the generator limit characteristics also satisfied. So this is the problem you can solve earlier. So next we can add the losses. This is another bigger problem to the coordination equation. If it will add the losses, definitely the generation to meet the demand plus losses. Demand plus losses. Again, a Lagrangian function, the demand plus losses equal to the generation. This is the constraint. Demand plus losses equal to the generator. Here the demand is a fixed value, losses is not a fixed value, losses depends upon the generator. Losses depends upon the generator. It is very, very important. Again we can derivative of this function. This will be going to be the dci by dpi. The lambda pd is a constant value, it is a 1. The power loss depends upon the generator itself. So dou pl by dou pi, it's going to be 0. It is very, very important. You see, the loss is not a constant. Loss depends upon the generator characteristics. Very, very important. Again, solving this equation, we can get the lambda is going to be dci by dpi divided by 1 minus dou pl by dou pi. This is called the penalty factor. Here this function is called a penalty factor. So what is a penalty factor? Penalty factor in the sense this will affect the meet out the demand by taking the losses. By taking the losses, this is called a penalty factor. For penalty factor of slack bus is always a unity. Suppose you can have the optimal dispatch problem. The incremental cost curve with the penalty factor is equal to incremental cost curve with the penalty factor of all the plants for all the plants. Having this formula, we can solve the equations. It's very, very important. And this is the impact of the transmission losses. So the calculation of the penalty factor, you can have the formula is going to be 1 divided by 1 minus derivative of the loss to the derivative of the power generation. This is the calculation of the penalty factors. So the summary of the economic dispatch, the best way to minimize the current generator operating cost, number one. Number two, the lambda iteration method also good approach for solving the economic dispatch problem. We can also have the generator limits and also penalty factor also we can have it to consider for the economic load dispatch. And also the economic load dispatch is not concerned with the determining which unit to turn and turn off, because the which unit is to turn on, turn off, it is coming under the unit commitment problem. And the economic dispatch problem always ignores the transmission system limitations, because economic dispatch problem they are taking the generator limits and also the penalty factor of the generator. It will not considering the transmission system limitations. It will be considering the generator limitations only. Generator limitations only. So the economic dispatch problem is very, very important, and also to operate all the plants economically, and also to supplying the load without any disturbance. So the economic dispatch is the most important part of the power system, and also power system operation and control. It is very important, and also the your coordination equation for the power system, that is n number of plants which should be in a single power system. The coordination equation with and without losses is very important to calculate the demand for a particular power system. Calculate the demand for the particular power system. Thank you. Thank you for your listening. Thanks one and all. Thank you.